I'm here with Calvin Hexter, and we're in Garneau.
Yes.
We're in Garneau. We're out looking at rental properties right now, and very unique property. Not typically something that I would normally go and look for in my own portfolio, but definitely some opportunities in this area. The reason why it's not typically an area that I normally go to is because this is an A area, an A plus area.
It is. Yep. Absolutely.
In Edmonton.
Yep.
And normally I'm in like the C's and sometimes even the D's, but the A's, there are some opportunities in the A areas, right?
Definitely. I mean, you can expect lower vacancy. You know, if you ever have a vacancy, expect you're going to get a ton of phone calls, but also understand where those phone calls are going to be coming from. Because we're a hop and a skip away from U of A.
Oh yeah, we could literally throw a stone to the U of A and the Children's Hospital.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. River Valley is right there too. Lots of amenities. Yeah. So you're going to have a lot of students. You might have some professors. You'll have young professionals. You're going to have quite the variety, honestly.
Yeah, well, that's because of the proximity to, you know, all of those different things. You got the school right there. You got the University of Alberta. You got lots of people that are studying and doing research at the University of Alberta. You got people that are here specifically working at the hospital. You got people that are working downtown even, you know, that literally you're just got to go across the bridge and you're downtown. And then there's also just people who like living here just for the culture. You know what I mean? My favorite pizza place is, by the way, I don't know if you planned this. My favorite pizza place is like right there. And we both pulled up and he smiled at me. He's like, you know where we're near, right? And now I got to go get a slice. Yeah. So, there's some people just like living here just for like the area, the community of it, and the maturity of it.
Definitely. Yeah. And again, when you're buying a home like this, that's a little bit older and, you know, these A plus areas that are right around the U of A, you know, you're going to have your infills. We're not in an infill right now. No. We're in a home that's, you know, that has older bones, right?
Yeah.
And one thing we were discussing before we were on camera is that, you know, there is a life cycle to our building products. And not everything's going to last forever, right? Like the foundation, you know, insurance will have an issue financing a home that's 100 plus years old. But you want to take a look at the roof, the windows, the furnace, the hot water tank, because they do have a life expectancy, right? And you want to see when they were replaced. And a lot of times owners will do a lot of them all at once. And then guess what? You know, say everything's 10 years old, 15 years old, know that you might be fronting a bill as you own the home.
Yeah.
And it could be a very large one, especially if you're trying to cover all of those items, right?
Yeah, the big expensive stuff. I mean, we're talking about the roof, we're talking about the windows, we're talking about the furnace, we're talking about the hot water tank, we're talking about appliances. I mean, there's a lot of things, big ticket items that, you know, normally, like you said, if you had a newer building or a newer build, you don't really have to worry about this for a while. But all of these are like, they're coming up. They're coming up pretty soon. And, you know, typically properties like this, they do cash flow a little bit better, right? Because of the proximity and because of the rent you can get.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, you're not paying for brand new. You're paying for something that's been lived in. So you tend to get a better price. But again, that price comes at less convenience, which is, again, the turnover of capital expenditures typically will be sooner than if you were to buy something brand new. You know, if you were to buy a brand new property today, you're going to have new home warranty. You're going to have the convenience of not having to really do anything, maybe just because, you know, or just besides the landscaping. With a home like this, just understand again that life cycle, because the flooring is already 5 or 10 years old. The kitchen's already, you know, 7 years old. So you're just getting it at a different life cycle, and your cash flow will typically be better. And if you're in an area that's like an A or a B area, even if we notice that vacancy does increase, because we know that there's the ebb and flow, the market does change, and our vacancy right now is fantastic. It's some of the lowest we've ever seen. But if it ever goes high, the areas that are more affluent, that are more desirable, tend to always perform.
Yes, I completely agree with you on that. So this property actually has a basement suite as well, but you would consider that to be an in-law suite, or what do they call it? In-law or
They're trying to get away from mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law?
The secondary suite is like the politically correct name.
Right.
People are just like there's no master bedroom anymore.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I never put that
bedroom.
together. Okay, got it. But the in-law suite, the reason why they're calling it an in-law suite is because it's a non-conforming suite downstairs. There is a basement suite, but it's not permitted with the city of Edmonton. So But that doesn't necessarily mean there's anything bad with that. I mean, you could live in it yourself and you could rent out upstairs, right? So there's definitely some legal considerations to look into, and definitely do your research on that ahead of time. But it also opens up some other opportunities where the fact that it is separated and what appears the bedroom is legally conforming as far as the egress and the electrical and the smoke detectors and things like that. There's possibilities of even doing a short-term rental in this basement.
Definitely.
Or a short-term rental upstairs.
Yeah, and Alberta doesn't have the same rules and regulations such as like BC. So there's not restrictions of, not being able to rent out that space in a short-term capacity. And in a location like this would do very, very well.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I don't know what those numbers would be necessarily for what you could get for an overnight here, but I know that there's lots of people that be willing to come and stay in this house because of the proximity.
Seps Pizza, your favorite pizza place.
Yes, for Seps Pizza. Seps is maybe they want to sponsor this video. Coming for Seps, or they could be here for maybe doing some temporary schooling. Maybe they're here for a course or something like that, or maybe they're coming to help out, teaching, or maybe they're here for research, or maybe, God forbid, but hopefully not, but maybe they're here specifically for the hospital. Maybe one of their children needs to stay at the hospital and they need somewhere for their family to stay. So there's lots of different people where there's a demand in this area to be close to this area. Or maybe they're just here just checking out Edmonton and all the really cool things that are here. Maybe even the Folk Fest. Folk Fest isn't very far either. So there's lots of different events, and Edmonton's really well known for the events during the summer. So, spaces like this, having 3 bedrooms on the main floor could really be a really good spot. This could be a really good spot for someone to stay, and it's nice and mature. And then you could also rent out the basement separately to a student or two, because there's 2 bedrooms. So let's go check out the basement, see what it looks like. Okay, this would be one of those basement suites where I kind of, for a change, I actually feel kind of tall. This is very rare that Wayne feels tall. And I see that we like to try and use the power of video to kind of show that Calvin is taller than I am. But in here, this probably has something to do with why it's not legally a legal basement suite. I mean, the ceiling height is you're almost touching, your hair is almost touching there, right? But it is definitely a living space nonetheless, right? And you'll find that in a lot of these older buildings, is that you don't necessarily, some of the basements are a little sketchy, right? This one isn't sketchy on it by any sense, but like it's not as desirable as some of those higher ceilings. But what are your thoughts on this basement suite?
Yeah, I find in the A and even B areas, you can get away with having more of a maintenance deficit in your rentals, and you'll still get a lot of phone calls. You'll get a lot of interested tenants because of the location. And there's a reason why they say location 3 times. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Is because it's really the fuel. It's the starting point of whether you can be successful or not. And it's not just relying on a brand new property in a bad location that you're going to be able to tenant anyways. But, properties like this, you can still tenant even though the roof is, 6, I don't know what this is, but you can still tenant it. And even though it doesn't feel brand new and it does feel very lived in, you could still rent the space out relatively easy because it's the proximity to everything else, the infrastructure, the amenities that really drives the traffic. Yeah. Not necessarily so much as like, nobody wants to live in a basement. Can we just say that to clear that up? Nobody wants to live in a basement, but I think that people choose to rent in a basement specifically for, other reasons. Maybe it's affordability, or maybe it's just the affordability of being in this area. I know lots of people, and even myself included, that I lived in a basement suite when I was younger. But it was about the area. You know what I mean? You don't spend all of your time at home. You're out, you're biking, you're going and playing ultimate frisbee and all those other things, you know what I mean? Or you're going to your favorite coffee shop and stuff. So some people might find basement suites to be a little unappealing, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's not about you, it's about who you're renting it to. And there's lots of people, students that would love for something like this, because we're not very far from the school. That's right. I mean, I don't know how far of a walk it is, but it's not very far at all. Yeah. And you can get some pretty decent rents specifically in this area for students for that. So you're going to get a much higher rent than you would get somewhere else in the city. And people will pay that for the proximity and being so close to the university. Room rentals do well in A areas. Room rentals do well in D areas.
Yes.
Typically C areas, you don't see it.
Interesting.
And only sometimes B areas. So you see it on the lower end of the spectrum for desirability map.
Yeah.
And on the higher end.
Yeah.
So we see it in both spectrums because of affordability.
That's what it comes down to. So a really cool property. I'm actually really interested in this. And I think that obviously we'll have to run the numbers on it to kind of see, but you can get quite a bit of rent for this property, whether it's going to be short-term rental or a long-term rental. So it's pretty cool. Thanks for taking me out to this, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right.